Hi, I'm Jasmine Warga, the author of Other Words for Home. Other Words for Home is the story of 12-year-old Jude, who due to the growing conflict in her home country of Syria, moves across the Atlantic Ocean to resettle in Cincinnati, Ohio. The book is about the struggles and joys of making a new life in a new place. It's about the courage and bravery of kids like Jude, but it's also about those universal things about being 12, about figuring out who you are, figuring out your place in your family, and finding your voice. I've been so thrilled that Other Words for Home has found a home in so many classrooms across the country. I've loved hearing from Muslim and Arab kids who this is the first time they ever saw themselves or their family reflected in a book. But I've also loved getting to go visit schools and school districts where there aren't a lot of Muslim or Arab kids and hearing from those kids about how the book broadened their worldview and helped open their eyes to the lives of kids who are different from them. I think it is so important for us to shake up our shelves and find space for contemporary books alongside classic books. My love of writing was born out of my love of reading, and I think of reading and writing as being a conversation. And I think a way to invite all of our kids into that conversation is to make sure that our classrooms have books that are reflective of all of our kids, and also have books that address our contemporary moment and speak to our kids so they'll feel engaged and excited to participate in this conversation, to be engaged readers. Give them books that reflect the world that they live in today and let them know that we want to hear what they have to say about them and let them have those conversations and discussions. And with that said, I've heard about lots of teachers using Other Words for Home in their poetry unit. It's a book that is in verse. Every single chapter is a free verse poem. And I know that when I was in school, our poetry unit was usually sonnets. And sonnets are great, but they aren't for everyone. And I think that free verse books are so great at engaging kids that might think poetry isn't for them, because there's no rules to what can be a poem, and they may start to make that connection that a free verse poem is a lot like a song lyric, and lots of kids who might say they don't like poetry like music, and this can be a way to bring in those kids and help them find their voice through poetry. Additionally, Other Words for Home is a migration and a journey story. And journey stories are such a trope of classic literature, right? We have the Odyssey. And so Other Words for Home can be used in that way, of this idea of finding home, of traveling to find home, of what home means. I've seen teachers do brilliant kind of sections or lessons where they ask everyone in the class to talk about what home means to them. And in doing so, every student is able to see how unique their understanding of home is, but also how universal it is. And lastly, I think Other Words for Home is a great book to bring into the classroom to address and open up conversations about Islamophobia, about current political landscape in the Middle East. I know that when I go in for school visits, the first thing I do is show a map of the Middle East, because lots of kids don't know where Syria is in relation to Iraq and so on. And so I think it's a book that can be used in lots of myriad of ways, but most of all, I hope that you really do consider shaking up your shelves and making sure your classroom has contemporary books that will speak to all of your students, because what we all want is to create more engaged readers, because that increases literacy, and that's what all of us are here for. Thank you so much.